Now time for America's Talking, with clips from statehouses across the country, where we start in Arizona. Jane Ahearn with Herra Ariano on behalf of Gifforts, the gun control lobby, speaking in opposition to Arizona House Bill 2076 earlier this week.
The bill would enhance and provide taxpayer funding for a fundamentally flawed and dangerous policy of allowing teachers and staff to be armed on campus. In addition to establishing programmatic funding, the bill adds confidentiality provisions that would prohibit the disclosure of the identity of any teachers on campus who are in fact carrying weapons, whether that disclosure be to law enforcement or to the parents of other children that want to know if there's a gun in their classroom. The bill gives teachers and school employees who are certified pursuant to this program complete criminal and civil immunity for any harm caused with a firearm during an act of crisis, so long as they act in good faith. This means that as long as someone acts in good faith, they could be exempt from any penalty, and the child's family would also be prevented from pursuing recourse civilly.
Interesting to hear Gifforts lay out some of the provisions of that Arizona bill, allowing for teachers to be armed in schools. But that list of things that they oppose, I would imagine if you asked a Second Amendment advocate, they would say those are precisely the things that they would support. So from Arizona to Pennsylvania, several talking about the issue of subsidies for social services. And Pennsylvania State Representative Jim Haddock talking with Maternal and Family Health Services President and CEO Maria Montaro Edwards. They were discussing the subsidies for women, infant, and children.
And last year, the chaos in Washington, they did go after WIC.
They did.
And it was one of the few times our Congress stood up to the president.
That's right.
Any rumblings currently on funding? I know it's been flat funded.
But
Farm
so
bills pending.
We have funding through September 30th, through the federal fiscal year. But what we need to do with WIC, and I know this is at the national level, we need to get WIC included with the national breakfast program, the school lunch breakfast program, so that it is always in there. WIC right now has to be renewed every year, and that's a problem.
Continuing our focus on how state houses are handling federal taxpayer subsidies in Michigan, State Budget Director Jen Flood talked about the $10 billion cost for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program that Michigan taxpayers would have had to have paid because of their error rate. But she said that they've worked to draw that error rate down to just only owing $4 billion.
But $4 billion is still significant for the state budget. We also invested early to drive down Michigan's SNAP error rate. As we're watching other states roll out their budgets across the state, right now executives are proposing dollars to drill down on this effort to drive down our error rate. And so we're many months ahead. Michigan's made great progress on this over the past few years, coming from a 13% error rate down to 9%. And with the resources from last year's budget, the department continues to focus on driving that down. Even with these steps, $4 billion in costs remain.
So with those costs remaining and the taxpayers in Michigan looking at $4 billion, could they get the error rates down even further from 9% to under 6%? Something that's still yet to be seen, not just in Michigan, but in states across the country. And down in Georgia, they're also talking about the SNAP error rate. Georgia State Representative Martin Momtahan, he talked about when error rates happen, eligibility goes unchecked, or the system fails to keep up with some real-world changes. And he said in the state of Georgia, they've got a bill that does three, quote, very big things.
First, it modernizes eligibility and verification. It requires timely verification, shorter certification periods for high-risk cases, and continuous data matching so that eligibility reflects real life, not outdated paperwork. Second, it strengthens program integrity and accountability, ensures that major policy decisions, like waiving federal work requirements, are made by elected representatives of the people, not through administrative actions alone. It also improves fraud deterrence, enhances EBT card security, and provides clear guidance to retailers consistent with federal law.
Now, he also went on to say the bill is not about taking benefits away from eligible families who utilize SNAP. He He says it's about protecting the program so it remains sustainable, credible, and focuses on the people it was designed to serve with federal tax dollars.